Hey guys, if you don't know me, my name is Richard and I'm a pastor. I do what I love for a living, but I'm also building a side business that can help support my family and help us to live a more generous lifestyle. And recently, I have been I've reached a point where there's some things happening in my side business that I wondered if it would ever really be possible a few years ago. You see, last night, it was the end of the month of October and I was billing my clients as I do at the end of every month. And I had a really good month of billing. It wasn't my biggest month, but it was a really strong month. And I went through all my different clients that I was billing. And I was talking with my wife, Janice, and I was saying, look, this client, all of them, it turned out every single client I had, I'd actually done 0 hours work on their stuff for that month. And yet for all of those clients, I got them great results that month because of systems that are working for me that I've been building over these last number of years. And that was just a realization moment that, wow, this is really true. Like, you can actually do it. You can build the type of side business that is not just gonna kill all of your time and just suck the life out of you, and you're gonna have to be doing all these things. And although that is not a normal month, and I certainly don't want to give the impression that a business can be purely passive, because we hear a lot about like passive income, and I actually don't think there's too many instances in life where you can make true passive income. Usually you need to do something. I mean, I guess you can invest in a stock and it goes up and you don't really do anything, but outside of that, in terms of the business world, you need to actively do something. But I do believe that there's a spectrum of more passive and more active. And if we lean into the right kind of business model, the right kind of tasks each week, we can build our business in such a way that it is much more passive than it is active. And I just experienced that through one of these amazing months that I just had, where literally all of my current clients were taken care of because of the systems that I've been building over the last 3 or 4 years. And it certainly wasn't like that in the early days. And it wasn't actually like I did no work this month, because I'm actually working on future projects in my spare time. So as well as everything else I do for my church and all of that for my job, I am building towards the future. But in terms of what the clients that were actually paying me this month, all of that was taken care of completely without doing any actual hours work. And I think this is a really important concept, is that in business, we are not paid by how busy we are. We are paid for our results. Are you getting results? It's about business, not busyness. If we're just busy, if we think being busy with stuff, I can busy myself with many time-wasting things, and I've certainly done that. And I think, I've got very limited time, right? I have a full-time job and a busy family, and when it comes to working on my business, I can sit down and I can be busy with a whole bunch of things that actually have very little impact on my bottom line and don't really help my business move forward. And I can feel like I'm doing work, but that's not the goal. The goal is to do business, not to be busy. And so I've got to get that thinking out of our head. And sometimes when we're coming from the 9-to-5 working world, sometimes we actually are paid for our hours. But when you build a side business, you are not paid for your hours. You can put in hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and get nothing. And I've certainly done that. I've put lots of time into things that were totally a time waster. Or we can get results. And those are the things that bring the real income. Those are the things we get paid for. Those are the things that clients want to actually hand over their hard-earned cash, is for results. If you can get results, you don't have to worry about the hours worked. And I would actually say that the goal is to be doing less. The goal is to be less busy, and that means we can actually build a side business that doesn't wear us out, because we're rewarded for results. We're not rewarded for our time. It's actually got nothing to do with our time. So being busy is not a badge of honor. I feel like sometimes in the entrepreneurial world, we talk about this kind of hustle culture of like putting in the hours and all of that. And I get the spirit of hard work, but when you're doing what I do, which is giving your full-time effort and passion into what you love, your job, and for you, maybe that's working for a non-profit or maybe it's a freelance kind of business or something that you love and you're pouring your heart into that. You don't want to be putting all your time into a side business. The reason I talk a lot about side businesses on this channel is it's a side business. It's not the main thing. And so you don't want to be pouring all your time into that. And being busy on that is not a badge of honor. It's old thinking. It's thinking from the 9-to-5 working world where we're paid for our hours, and we are paid by our results. So that's the first thing, is we got to build businesses and not just be busy. The second thing is you can do this. Okay, for me, I was really nervous getting into entrepreneurial activities, like building a side business from the beginning. I thought, I'm a pastor, I don't know anything about business, I'm out of my depth, and could I build something that was more passive than it was active? Because you hear these kind of famous business gurus talking about this, but I'm just a pastor. Like, how do I do this? I'm so confident that you can do this if you're just committed to this. If you look, I don't know what I'm doing, but over the years, I'm just refining it, improving it, learning. Oh, that's a huge time waster. I'm not going to do that anymore. Oh, when I agree to do that for a client, it uses a huge amount of my time. I'm not going to do that anymore. Oh, I'm going to prioritize this because I seem to put in this amount of time, but I get this kind of result from it. If you do that long enough, you're gonna be successful. And that's the third point, is that it will take time. So you've got to commit to it. You can build a business that is highly passive, and I won't say it is passive, but it is more passive than active if you're committed to it. Now, you don't have to set a time frame for this. For me, I think this is a marathon more than a sprint. I don't want to stress myself out trying to build this business. And so I'm just doing it as I come, but I'm just committed to getting better. And it is going to take time, but for me, I'm doing the least amount on my business time-wise now than I ever have been, and I'm also getting some of the best results that I've had. Part of that is because you get good at it, but that's just what happens when you commit to a task. You get good at something and your results get better, and in the business world, you get paid by your results. That's awesome. So it will take time, that's okay. But the last thing is you still have to work. I don't want to put forward this idea that, oh, it's just, you just sit back and the clients just roll in and they just want to pay you. No, you have to get good. You have to lose this fantasy that you're just going to have this purely passive business. It doesn't exist. But you got to understand that there is that spectrum, and yes, I'm going to work towards moving my business to be more and more passive. So you will still have to work. You will still have to put the hours in, especially at the beginning, but that's okay. Over time, we're gonna prioritize those high leverage tasks. We're gonna build systems that are gonna help us to be able to build the kind of business where it's not based off our hours put in, but it's based off our results. So I hope that's encouraged you. You can do it. Come on, stick with it. I believe in you. If I can do it, you can do it. And I'm excited to see you grow an awesome side business.